fire spreading to nearby grass.
No, I did Saturday.
I was supposed to have 3 minutes.
All right, y'all, it's Friday.
Sir, thank you. Thank you very
Go
much.
a little hard
Next
at the beginning.
please.
It's the JR Show from Studio 99 at the American General Media Complex. On air at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Online at kernradio.com. Now, here is your host, JR.
Top of the day to you. This is the JR Show. You're listening to Kern Radio. Check us out online at kernradio.com. You can also catch us streaming live on YouTube. That's right. Just hop on over to YouTube and search up Kern Radio and give us a follow, subscribe, click the notification bell every day at 2:05. We're live right there on YouTube. You can also find us on social media. Just look up Kern Radio, Facebook, Instagram, X. We're out there. You can find us. I am also out there, JR Flores, or why not JR? It is a What the Faith Friday. I promise we're going to try to go light. It's going to be tough in the beginning. I still got to cover the CPS and the death of Genesis Mata, and we'll get through that, and then we'll talk to a mortician, which you ask, how does that go with What the Faith? Well, we all die at some point. No, that's life. I'm sorry to bring the hard facts on a Friday. That's life, and nobody gets out alive. So we'll speak to a mortician. We'll find out some of the crazier things that he has seen. What made him become a mortician? Scott English Aldridge, all the way from Asheboro, North Carolina, would join us at 2:30. What else do we got to talk about? TV ratings have come out. Fox is up. All the other ones are down. I'll give you my thoughts on that as well. And your questions, comments, and text messages are always welcome. 661-842-5376, 661-842-KERN. You can also drop a chat in the YouTube box there. I'll turn around and look at it at some point. You can also send me emails because I don't want you texting and driving. JR@kernradio.com. Speaking of driving, do not go down California Avenue. At least headed west. It's one lane all the way from Real Road all the way to Stockdale. Not only that, the light is blinking at California and Easton. It's backed up from one end to the other. If you don't have to go down California Avenue, don't. And if you do have to go down California Avenue, don't. Find an alternate route. I went down Stockdale. Stockdale Highway is busier. I tried to go down Truxton. Truxton, busier. Just stay off California Avenue. I'm sorry. If you have to come this way, if you have to come by the station and get tickets, the easiest way is to come up through Oak, right? Because it's the closest.
I would just say get off the freeway and hope
And hope for the best. Yeah, hope and pray for the best. Get off the freeway, get off the 99, going south at California, and just hope for the best. Other than that, stay off of California. And we'll all make it to the weekend just fine. The Kern County Board of Supervisors, late last night, I was checking emails, decided they were going to drop a statement. Finally, only 6 days later, do I get an email that says Kern County Board of Supervisors statement on death of Genesis Mata. Goes on to say, quote, "We are deeply saddened by the tragic and senseless death of a child in our community. Our thoughts are with the child's loved one, friends, and all of those affected by this unimaginable loss. This is a painful time for our entire community, and we understand that the details shared publicly have been disturbing. While we cannot comment on specific details due to the ongoing investigation, we take this matter seriously and are committed to the safety and well-being of the children and families we serve." Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Board of Supervisors meet on Tuesdays. I'm not saying they need to put out a statement. I'm not saying that they should have put out a statement sooner. But we all have questions about what the heck is going on over at the Department of Human Services and Child Protective Services. There's a group of protesters who have gathered outside of the Kern County Child Protective Services office on Friday. The office is at 100 California Avenue, began around 10 a.m. Protesters are demanding an independent investigation into Kern County CPS. Let me check that statement again. Deeply saddened, tragic loss, child, loved ones, thoughts and prayers, painful time. Can't get to the specific details. Ongoing investigation. Nope, doesn't say anything about an independent investigation of the Kern County Child Protective Services in that statement. This isn't the first failure of Child Protective Services when it comes to children in Kern County. Do we have to go all the way back to Owen, to the young kids that were killed, to the brothers that are still missing to this day? And in this case of Genesis Mata, there was an open investigation on her father, who still had custody of her, including 7 other children. And so we all start banging on the drum and trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Apparently there was a grand jury the report that came out back in April. And of course, it's like we all suspected they were going to say, we're understaffed. We're under budget. We don't have a good budget. We don't have enough money. We don't. According to the April 22nd grand jury report, issues within the department, the need for more staffing, an overflow of caseloads, and burnout have affected the department. The number of emergency responses also have gone up, according to the report, using data from Child Welfare Services. The Child Welfare Services report from November of 24 shows that family referrals increased 6% from the year prior, and child referrals increased 9%. Abuse depositions also increased in the department. Sexual abuse increased 81%. Physical abuse increased 104%. Severe neglect increased 200%. But the grand jury said the number of intakes at the Jamison Children's Center decreased 25% between that same time frame. The county said as of May of 23, CPS added 35 new staff, 26 of them social service workers, and over the next 2 months, 14 new people are expected to be hired. I wouldn't expect any answers anytime soon. Apparently, they're pretty busy over there. I don't want to compare it to a movie that I once saw, and it's one of my favorite movies with a great opening scene. And it reminds me of what the gentleman said at the table of Reservoir Dogs when they're sitting around talking about waitressing, and they says, I want my cup of coffee to be filled up more times when I'm sitting here. And he said, well, what if she's too busy? And he turns and he says, the words too busy shouldn't be in a waitress's dictionary. And I would apply the same when it comes, even more so, when it comes to protecting our children. I mean, heck, it was just 4 years ago when the county asked all of the county residents for more money, wanted a 1% tax so they could keep vital services up. I would argue, and I don't think I would have to argue very hard, that this is probably one of the most vital services that we can have in our county. The fact that they had an open investigation on her father for abuse on what seems to be her brother, we only know as an 11-year-old boy with the last name of Mata. So we can only assume it's her older brother. And still, no clue on where mom is. No clue on what, nothing, no word. Not even his family has come out and explained where's mom. And so we will continue to ask for an independent investigation into CPS. The grand jury be danged. It doesn't explain to me how this happened, how we have failed this little girl. We got to get to a break. If you guys like to chime in, you're more than welcome. 661-842-5376, 661-842-KERN. Looks like a report of an active shooter at Emory College. Is that what that says, Chris? Can't see the glare. In Atlanta. Active shooter on Atlanta campus near Emory Point. The college has put out a statement. We'll try to get you some of those details. That is just breaking now. Speaking of abuse with children, we'll tell you what one mother has received as a sentencing in the death of her child. I promise it's a Friday. I'll try to lighten it up a little bit. Then we'll talk to a mortician on a What the Faith Friday. We all got to die. Have you made plans? Have you figured out what you want? Don't leave that up to your family. We'll talk about that and some of the wild, maybe deaths that he has maybe encountered in his career. All that and so much more. It's the JR Show. It's Kern Radio. We'll be right back.
News Talk 96.
Welcome back. It's the JR Show. It's a What the Faith Friday. It's Jamie McDonald. Left it in the river. Active shooter reported at Emory College in Atlanta, Georgia. Just looking at the screen behind Christopher. There is a large police presence at Emory Point near the Emory University campus and the main campus of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. An alert from Emory University went out around 4 p.m. Eastern Time, advising there was an active shooter at the CVS on campus to run, hide, fight, avoid the area. The CVS to which they are referring to is located at Emory Point on Clifton Road. Fox 5 crews heard what sounded like gunshots coming from the CDC campus. We'll get you more as that is occurring right now. And it doesn't look like, as far as I can tell on the screen behind Chris, that they're actively looking for somebody. There are a lot of police officers kind of standing around there. So I'll try to get you the latest as that becomes available. 661-842-5376, 661-842-KERN. If you want to call in or text. Do we have anything on the message board, sir?
You're going to have to give me one moment, but I believe we do.
Okay.
I had to restart the computer during the break. I apologize.
Did you break something in there, Chris?
No.
It's a
no,
Friday.
you're
Trying to train young Dawson and you're breaking stuff.
No, I'm teaching him the finer
You're
points
teaching him,
of,
yes,
of
fire
figuring out
drills.
when stuff goes wrong.
Fire drills, how to work a fire drill when the
Exactly.
computer breaks and your
Now
host
freaking
is
out.
yelling at you to read the messages and you don't have them up. What do? Don't worry, Chris. I have another story I can go to.
I got it right.
Oh, you got
Just give me a second.
Young Dawson is the newest member to the Kern Radio crew. You guys will meet him very, very soon, as he'll be producing some shows here and helping us out on Kern Radio. Plus, Rick Bentley's in the building. Saw him in the studio walking around and eating a lollipop and ice cream and talking about movies. That's the guest host today for the Ralph Bailey Show. Also, I'll see him tomorrow morning. There's a book sale going on at Bill Library. I believe it starts at 11. I just saying that, Rick. I know that's not the right start time, but I don't want people to show up earlier than me. So I'm telling everybody 11. You can tell them the right time, but for me, it starts a little earlier than that. It's just I want first dibs. That's all. What do you have on the text message board?
JR, should we be asking the city council to put money away or aside for sewer upgrades, not just waiting to try and act like they were surprised again? We pay taxes for infrastructure.
Oh, it's too late. It's too late. What do you mean, should we start? We should have started about 20 years ago. And that's why I question, what the heck is Andre Gonzalez going to run on when he runs for assembly? What accomplishments does he have? He screwed up the sewer. He's been sitting there. He's the second longest tenured city councilman into his third term now. He could have been putting money away 10 years ago. If he wasn't busy trying to look at what seat he's going to run for next. But yeah, we probably should start putting money away now. That's why your sewer rate's about to go up. Sorry. 661-842-5376. 661-842. I guess it's never too late though, right? Start saving now. It's like saving. It's like putting away for a 401k in your 60s. Does it really matter at that point?
It's never too late.
It's never too late to start saving, though. That's what Daniel Petrie would tell you. What else do you have?
Now AB 459 is in legislature to get passed, and apparently anybody will be able to pick up your child. No ID, no documentation, just as long as they know the child's name and birth date.
Kind of, sort of, in a way. This bill 495, that's the assembly bill for the state of California. It's going through different commissions. It passed through the assembly. I believe it's going through the Senate or whatever. And originally it was started because they're trying to disguise it or pass it as, oh, we're helping immigrant kids that may have been separated from their families due to ICE or immigration statuses. And so they're saying, well, if parents get taken and deported by ICE, and now you have these kids, there's nobody that's going to be able to represent them or stand as their guardian or make decisions for them. And so they're trying to put in 495, and in it, yes, some of the things is that you can basically, and I haven't read a whole bunch, and I'm trying to get somebody on who can explain it a little bit better as far as down the middle goes. I hate bringing on left and right, and I just get they're trying to take our kids away, and the other group's like, no, we're just trying to protect immigrants. And so I'll read thoroughly through the bill over the weekend for you guys and tell you exactly what it says, but there is some scary parts in there that I have looked at myself. We'll keep following it as it makes its way through the crazy only in California legislation. Got to get to a break. Come back on the other side. Get to talk to Scott English Aldridge, a mortician out of Asheboro, North Carolina. Stick around. It'll be a cool conversation. It's a What the Faith Friday. It's the JR Show. It's Current Radio. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's the JR Show. You're listening to Kern Radio. Check us out online at kernradio.com, even streaming live on YouTube now. That's right. Just go to YouTube and check us out in all of our glory. You can see us right there. Just search Kern Radio. Give us a follow, subscription, whatever they do. Push the bell. You get notified when we go live every day at 2:05 right here. You can also find us on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, X. Just look up Kern Radio. I am also out there, JR Flores, or why not JR. It is a What the Faith Friday here on the JR Show. And we do have a guest in studio. He is Scott English Aldridge, all the way from Asheboro, North Carolina, a mortician, which always piques my interest whenever I'm like, ooh, really? The stories you can probably get out of that. So welcome to the show and welcome to California in Bakersfield, right?
Thank you, JR. It's a pleasure to be here and for the invitation to be on the show. So I'm excited to talk to you.
Yeah, no. Is it warm enough here in Bakersfield or is it?
It's quite warm. It's over 100 degrees is something I'm not quite used to. In North Carolina, it was reasonably comfortable, but the humidity is really strong there. So it's nice to be in a place where you experience the dry heat and not humidity, where you feel like you're taking a shower in the sauna.
How long you been in North Carolina?
I was actually born and raised in
Okay.
North Carolina. Spent most of my youth there, and then after high school, gravitated out to Utah and lived out there and raised a family. And then in 1993, I moved back to North Carolina to take care of a mentally handicapped sibling that became my responsibility to take care of. And so that's
and been a mortician your whole life?
no, there's an interesting story about that. I've always been intrigued with death and the funerals and everything related to that. So it's always been an infatuation for me. I've always felt that it was a calling once I did pursue that as a career. To make a long story short, I'm old enough to remember the assassination and the funeral procession for John F. Kennedy.
Okay, yeah.
Back in 1963, I was a young second grader. And I remember on Saturday morning, I got up that morning anticipating to watch my daily routine of watching the cartoons.
Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, but all day that day I had the funeral procession to watch all day long, and so I became intrigued. I think it was just ingrained into me, the fascination with death care and the funeral ceremonies, and so it's something I always wanted to do. As I progressed through junior high and high school, I had that aspiration, but I was never encouraged to pursue that as a profession. A lot of folks discouraged me and say it would be too confining. You would have to live at the funeral home, never have any time off. And so I kind of put it to the side, went to college, got a liberal arts degree, joined the military.
Thank you for your service.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I did 24 years, retired back in 2007. Became a displaced worker in my civilian job. And I thought, well, I'm here in my 50s now at this point. What do I do? So I thought back to
that 2-year-old boy watching the JFK funeral procession.
That's right. And so I thought, well, this is my time. So I decided to go to mortuary college, fulfill all the requirements for licensing. Starting in 2007 up until the present, I've been quite active in the funeral service profession. And I've really enjoyed it. There's a lot of satisfaction there from the families I serve who are going through a most difficult time in their lives. So,
well, that's what I say. It's not, you're just not a mortician, because you are dealing with living people still, and like you said, at the most difficult point in their life, and they're having to make some of the toughest decisions for somebody that can't answer.
Exactly. And you bring up a good point, JR. You're spending a lot of time with the living. Actually, you spend more time with the living than you do the.
You're almost a psychologist, a psychiatrist. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You're walking them through the hardest thing they're going to go through in their life.
That's correct. Emotionally, they're very distraught. They can't make decisions, especially if they've waited until the death of their loved one to even give it any thought. Because unfortunately, we in American society look at death as something we want to avoid.
Right.
We don't accept that as a part of life. But I want them to
I
think.
do. I'm a Christian. I'm like, get me to heaven as quick as I can possibly
Yeah.
get there. I mean, I love being here. I have an 8-year-old daughter. I don't want to go anytime soon. You know what I mean? But I know it's better where I'm going than where I'm at right here. And this isn't home.
Right.
This is temporary. This is all just temporary. I'm trying to get to the pie in the sky, so to speak.
Exactly. And
But no, like you said, a lot of Americans don't think that way, though. They want to put death off for as long as they can and avoid it and not think about it.
Exactly. And there's a lot of cultures in the world, they embrace death. Day of the Dead is a very popular
Dias
among.
de los Muertos.
Yeah, so you have cultures like that who embrace that part of life. But it's difficult in the American society. We have the McDonald's mentality. We want it now.
Especially
Yeah.
even more so now with the invention of cell phones, and I can literally look up anything anytime at the touch of my fingertips.
Yeah, and that's interesting too about that aspect of it. It's hurry up type society. Even with employers, they allow bereavement leave for their employers.
Yeah.
But that's only a limited amount of time, and so 3 days later, you're expected to get back to work and get past the grieving process. But the grieving process is very important. We grieve because we love, and that helps us heal. And so folks need to take the adequate amount of time to grieve the loss of their loved one.
Yeah.
And not rush things along there in that regard.
What are some of the biggest the biggest things you have to help people with in making those decisions? You know what I mean? It's like if a loved one didn't leave you any direction, what are some of the things that some people are like that you have to walk people through?
That's a good question. And you're not just an order taker. If you're a good funeral director, you're just not there to
say check a box and
check a
say,
box.
do you want cremation or do you want a casket?
Yes.
And a check, and then no feelings whatsoever.
So that's the creative part of the job. When you're sitting down with a family and they're unsure as to how to proceed, you can give them different options. And of course, funerals can be very expensive. Today's average funeral today, I'm speaking from North Carolina, easily $10,000 to $15,000.
You're not far off
Yeah.
from here in California too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, a cremation option is one of the advantages of cremation. It's a lot less expensive. There's other advantages related to cremation, but when you're sitting down with a family, it's really important to give them all their options. I tell families, don't let your emotions rule your pocketbook when you come to making decisions,
Right.
of selecting services. And it's important to realize that the funeral service itself is all about, it's really for the living rather than for the dead. It's celebrating that person's life. So you're there to kind of guide them through the process and giving them options that they can consider to celebrate the life of their loved one.
Yeah, because and more it's becoming a celebration, but it's a part of that healing and grieving and closure process. Because like I said, I don't care what you do with me. I'm dead. You can burn me, put me in a box, leave me in the chair. I'm gone. I'm not going to know the difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's like, I like that you said it's more for the living, you know, for them to be able to get through that and celebrate that life and not necessarily close that chapter, but start to move on and because life unfortunately does go on.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It does go on. So it's tough. What are some of the other things that that some people don't expect when they're trying to plan a funeral?
Sometimes it's important to realize that to have that closure, it's important to view their loved one. Sometimes the folks will go with cremation, but we always give them the option, would you like to see your loved one before they are cremated? So
Can I interrupt you with
Sure.
the creepy? My father passed away back in 2009.
Mhm.
And he chose cremation, and they did the viewing before where they had him in the casket so all the family could come and do all that stuff. But he wanted to be cremated, and so I remember they took him after all the services. We got to walk him back to the cremation place, and they even asked my sisters, "Do you want to flip the switch.
Exactly.
And I was like, I'm good. You know what, y'all? Go ahead. I'm gonna be outside. But they opted to.
Sure. Yeah. And there's some religions that request that opportunity to do that, to push the button there, the crematory, to start that process. So usually that's very uncommon though among most folks, but it's really important whether they choose cremation or a full service to be able to have that closure psychologically, to say goodbye, to be at peace, to see their loved one who may have been in suffered some type of trauma as a result of an accident or had a lengthy illness and they didn't look well. So it's good to be able to give them an opportunity. And one of the things that gives me great satisfaction is not only am I a funeral director, I'm also a licensed embalmer. And so for me, it's always gives me great pride to take someone who looks as though they are dead.
Are dead. I mean, because they are.
And then transform them into a peaceful, sleepful type environment.
I mean, it's almost like artwork.
It is very, you're mixing science with art when you're doing the cremation part. The embalming process, or even cremation if they're wanting to view your
like you said, for my father, we had a viewing and everything.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it wasn't just, oh, he's, we're going to go have him cremated. Nobody gets to see him. No, everybody got to take a look,
Yeah. Every individual that we take into our care, we afford them the opportunity to be bathed. We wash their hair and set their features. So it's the last thing that we can do them. It's something they can't do for themselves. And then that gives a pleasing memory picture for the family when they do view.
Do you usually try to get a photo or something that the family kind of says this is the person, and gives you something to kind of work off of?
Sometimes they do that, yes, especially with women, as far as makeup, their hair, for the hairdresser to do their hair, things like that. Sometimes that's very helpful. We don't always have to have that. We can use sometimes our best judgment, but sometimes they will provide a photograph, which not only serves that purpose, but it's a photograph to go with the obituary that will either be posted on the funeral home's website or in the local newspaper of their choice.
We got to get to a break. We're speaking with Scott Allridge, mortician, all the way out of North Carolina, visiting California. Was it difficult, your first one?
It was kind of a shock to the system. It's something you kind of get acclimated to. But after you've done hundreds of embalmings.
How many do you think you've?
I probably have reached well into the thousands at this point.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
It doesn't take long to build up the number of deceased individuals that you're serving.
I couldn't even imagine, Mr. Aldridge, what the things you have. We'll talk about maybe some of the things you've had to see and what some of the more difficult cases it just gives me the heebie-jeebies, man. That's a lot of dead bodies to be around.
Yes, sir.
And you start to get comfortable, and then you probably start talking to them, and you have conversations. It's okay, Maggie. We're going to take care of you today. You get to that point, right?
You do.
We'll talk all about that. I can't wait. We're talking with Scott Allridge. He is a mortician all the way out of North Carolina. This is the JR Show. You got any questions, you feel free to call 661-842-5376, 661-842-KRN. You can also leave us a text message or drop us a line in the YouTube chat. That's right. We're streaming live on YouTube. Go check us out. Search up Kern Radio. We'll be right back. It's the JR Show. I'm homesick. Welcome back to the JR Show. It is a What the Faith Friday. That's a little Phil Wickham, Homesick for Heaven. Like I said, this isn't our home. This is a temporary place, and we're trying to get to that big old pie in the sky where the streets are paved of gold and there's a room just waiting for me. We're talking about death with our guest, Mr. Scott Aldridge, all the way from Asheboro, North Carolina, visiting some family out here. And is very gracious to join us today and talk about his career in being a mortician and covering some of the more difficult things that the loved ones have to take care of. Because let's face it, when we're dead, we don't have, it's on you. So what are some of the other things we were talking during the break about trying to get those plans in place now? I'm 45. I've thought about it. Like I said, I have an 8-year-old daughter, and I don't want to have to leave her, even if it's 20. I hope to have 20 years, but if it's 20, 25 years from now, you start to think about what do I want for my funeral to look like? Maybe I should start taking care of some of those things.
You really should. And for your listeners listening in today, I would strongly suggest, based on my experience professionally and personally, it's really important to be thinking about those things now, because we all have to realize at a certain point it's going to
it's life. Nobody gets out alive.
It's going to come to an end at some point. And so whatever your wishes are, don't keep those to yourself. Share them with someone. Write them down now. Be thinking about those things. So many times I've sat down with a grieving wife or a grieving parent, a grieving child for their parent who's passed away, and they just don't know where to start. They're troubled because there's some unfinished business, like not being able to say, I love you for the last time. But when the death has occurred, that's really too late to be thinking of as a survivor about what the wishes of your loved one would have wanted. We have so many times where we've met with those family members saying, I wish I knew what her favorite music was. I'd like to be able to pick that out for the funeral, or what she wanted to be dressed in, or how did she wear her hair, what casket.
What color of casket does she want?
Does she want metal? Wood?
Right.
Just all those myriad of questions that arises in a person's mind. So what we is really encourage folks to do some price shopping. Funeral homes, there's probably more than one. Go by, pick up a general price list that spells the price of the merchandise and services.
Well, because that's another. Want to leave the expenses to your family, because like you said, it can get costly. You start picking out those things, and if you start paying on it when, like, I'm 45, heck, I can start paying on something now.
Yeah, there's two reasons why you really should be thinking about pre-planning and possibly pre-funding. Pre-planning, if you write down what are those your wishes for your loved ones left behind, you can give them peace of mind that they're going to fulfill what your wishes are. So that helps them as they're going through a very distraughtful time. Also, the pre-funding is important to consider, because funerals are, as I said earlier in the broadcast here, that funerals can be very expensive. And so,
everything, they're only going to get more expensive.
Exactly. A few more years, they're going to almost double in price. So the average cost of a funeral in North Carolina, as I was saying earlier, can be easily $15,000. So the thing you need to be thinking about is the possibility of pre-funding at today's prices. And you can do that with an inflation-proof pre-need, where you can sit down with the funeral director and say, these are my wishes, and this is what services I want, and this is the merchandise I want. And so you can lock that in at today's prices, so that hopefully you'll live many, many more years. But when
that time does come,
you're paying today's prices and not
10 years, 15 years from now, which could be double by then.
Yeah. So that makes it a lot easier for the family. It makes it a lot easier for the funeral director and their staff to carry out those wishes for you.
Yeah. We got a couple minutes here. I want to get into like I was asking at the end of the last segment there. The first one's the hardest, right? And then at what point do you start to get comfortable?
Well, experience is the greatest teacher.
Or do you ever get comfortable? Because I don't know if I would.
Well,
the
way I look at it, yes, the first time around, it was kind of dropping. But the embalming process is essentially a surgical procedure where you're replacing blood with a preservative to a person's lifelike appearance, but it's not as
It's not like you're doing an
scary.
autopsy.
It's not an autopsy,
Right.
And we have those autopsy cases that come in that we have to do, and they are time consuming because you're having to put a person essentially back together after they have been autopsied, or if they've had tissue donations.
Or if their death was a bad accident.
Exactly.
You know, if somebody was in a car accident.
Car accident,
Or
homicide,
gunshot wounds.
gunshots. We
I
have
mean,
those
there's a lot of
situations.
bad things that come in that you have to clean up, right?
We do, and that when you first experience as an embalmer, those situations for the first time, visually, it can be upsetting, of course. But over a period of time, I hate to say you become insensitive to it, but you
Right.
are more mechanical about it because you're trying to achieve a particular
You have a job to do.
job to do, and so that's what you're really focused on. Like if you're working on the face and you're trying to restore the features of the face, that's what you're focused on.
That's your goal, and that's what
Yeah.
you're not thinking about, oh, this is, I mean, do you think like this was somebody, this is,
And there's times, you do sit back and reflect. You walk into the room, you turn on the lights to the embalming room, and you see 2 or 3 deceased individuals there.
it's
and
got to be heavy on you.
you do think about their life, what they may have accomplished, what they saw in their life experience, especially a child.
Oh yeah,
That's
couldn't
really
imagine.
difficult with
Couldn't
children.
imagine.
I'm just glad I don't see that many infants,
Yeah.
that many young people. Most of the individuals that I come in contact with have lived a long, prosperous life, and their quality of life is, of course, better when they've reached an elderly age, no longer sick or whatever.
Wow. If we had another hour, I could continue to talk to you. So thank you for agreeing to come in and spending time with us today. I'm just so fascinated still. I'm sure after the show, I'm going to sit around and ask you about 100 more questions.
I'll be happy to answer.
Scott Aldridge, everybody, all the way from North Carolina, sharing some stories about being a mortician and things that you need to think about before you go off into the sunset. It is a What the Faith Friday. I want to thank you guys for hanging out. I got to get out of here, make room for Rick Bentley, filling in for Ralph Bailey today. You guys be good to each other this weekend. Lily, Dad loves you. That's it.
I appreciate that.
That wasn't hard, huh?
No, it wasn't hard at all.